Let's break into the This Week in Freight powered by my friends over at DAT, you guys. And again, all of this is today we're breaking down drive-ins. This is 100% viewer submitted. I'm just helping you guys read freight markets the way that I read them from my seat. And this is just coming from somebody who actually moves freight out there, and we're going to break it all down here. But again, if you want your lane broken down on the show, it all goes into my team. You guys got to email podcast@thefreightcoach.com. All we need is pickup location, delivery location, trailer type. And if you want to round it up to the nearest big city or put it somewhere else, so you think that I'm going to go in there and try and find your customers, go and do that, you guys. But that's perfectly fine, because there's a lot more stability out there than people think. And a lot of these lanes, from my opinion, operate off of a regional basis. So let's break it down here today. This lane is Minneapolis, Minnesota, going to Atlanta, Georgia. And first thing I always do, you guys, no matter what, I look at the miles, because that drastically affects how I quote freight, whether it's a Friday to Monday or a Thursday to Monday or whatever that looks like. I'm going to do that for my customers, because it does affect the pricing that goes on out there. And this one, again, I know that there's a lot of talk out there about how, crazy rates are and everything else. And I get it, right? It's a great selling point if you want to sell fear. But we got to look for the stability, and this lane trending back down here. Okay. So if you look at it, the 1 year mark is about $2,800. It did spike up to its high point at about $3,200. And again, if we scroll down here to the map, what happened in February? Oh, diesel prices skyrocketed during that time. And this one is leveled out. Okay. So I'm looking at this here. So January, again, what was going on in January, weather events out there in Minnesota. So that's going to limit capacity. But then February, we all know what happened out there. And then it kind of stabilized throughout March. It stayed that exact same rate. And then now it's starting to trend down, and it's staying very stable in the first couple of days of May here. So I look at it, no matter what, you guys, there's going to be events that happen that are going to cause, some constraints out there in the market, temporary. All right. And that's why I never want anybody to rush to judgment to go out there and quote, change your rates, blow up your pricing strategy all over a week. Right. And, so with where I'm seeing things right now, this lane's stable. And I want you guys to pay attention to this, because if you look at last April and last May, it's up, like $800, right? And if the reefer market and the drive-in market and everything that's going on in the Southeast, you guys, like, this is kind of like prime produce season. So if anything, rates should be exponentially cheaper, because a lot of the good paying loads are out of the Southeast. So people will take freight for less to go into that region. But that is seemingly not happening this year, because again, driver's overhead is up, right? With fuel prices and everything else. So, and I haven't seen a drop in capacity. I've actually seen reports out there that new authorities are being granted again at a higher level and stuff like that. So I still don't think capacity is going to be the issue. But again, there is a clear higher price point where a lot of these lanes are going to be moving on out there. And we just need to pay attention to that. All right. So pay attention to those markers. This is, rest assured, Minneapolis to Atlanta is a power lane of power lanes. Okay. So this isn't going to fluctuate that much. I think we've hit the ceiling on this one. I wouldn't be surprised if this kind of dips back down to around that $2,800 mark, which is about the year average, but I would assume it's going to stay there. Now, what's coming up here next week, you guys, is going to throw a wrench in some things. And we're going to break down an article on that here a little bit later, you guys, but pay attention to International Roadcheck week. All right. That always affects capacity. Does not matter the year. So pay attention to that going in. You could see some temporary spikes. So if you're in a spot market position with your customer, you're in a very strong position, I would go to them and talk to them. If you're in a contracted rate with your guys' customers, you're going to probably have to wear it next week, but I think you've probably already had that conversation with them about rising rates and everything else, which I would hope you have. If you haven't, for whatever reason, use the link to the article I'm going to be breaking down here today about Roadcheck, and go out there and do it. So that's my lane analysis on this, you guys. Minneapolis, Minnesota, Atlanta, Georgia, dry van. Again, this is This Week in Freight powered by my friends over at DAT. And again, if you want your lane broken down on the show, I just need you to submit them to my team, podcast at thefreightcoach.com. I need a shipping city, a delivery city, and a trailer type. And all we're doing, you guys, is helping you guys read freight markets and actually understand how this works, because it's very easy to get lost in headlines. It's very easy to think that everything's changing when it might just be a temporary blip. And you got to weather those storms in there. And you got to actually show up for your customers, because more often than not, if rates rise, if capacity tightens up, if things happen, customers are going to pay, right? Like they're going to need to move their freight. And most people know what it is. Like, you just can't bang that same drum. I just look at it as it's like the boy who cried wolf. You can't always blame fucking everything else out there. Like, eventually you got to actually understand how to work. And it's not just post truck, find cheap rate, quote customer. That's just not the way it works. More often than not, throughout the entirety of my career, you guys, you have to get really good at reading lanes, reading the seasonalities, knowing that there's going to be times where you're going to have to wear it. And by that, I mean, like, you might break even, you might only make 4%, 5% on a load. And then there's going to be times where you're going to get back up to your desired profit margin, which might be that 12 to 15%. So again, you guys, there's a lot more stability out there. I'm not trying to sell you guys shit on this show. I'm just trying to help you guys understand what I go through every single day and what I've gone through